Morgan Cole Wallen is more than a country singer. Behind the grit of his voice and the charm of his music lies a man whose heart beats for people, for redemption, and for the chance to bring light into someone's darkness. While his rise to fame is a tale of hard work and talent, there's one story of kindness that reveals the soul behind the superstar. It was a bitterly cold winter night in Nashville, the kind of cold that bites through even the thickest jackets. The streets of Broadway were alive with music, neon lights, and the hum of people enjoying the city's nightlife. But in the shadows, away from the laughter and warmth, sat a man named Jacob. His coat was thin, his hands raw from the cold, and his eyes spoke of a life that had seen too much pain. Jacob had once been a truck driver, crisscrossing the country with stories of his travels. But after losing his wife to a sudden illness, his world fell apart. Grief consumed him, and soon, he lost his job, his home, and what little hope he had left. Now, he sat on the corner of the bustling street, invisible to most, his only companion a battered guitar case. Morgan Wallen was walking down that very street with a few friends after a long day in the studio. The cold didn't bother him much, but something tugged at his heart as he spotted Jacob sitting quietly, almost as if the world had forgotten him. There was something about the way Jacob held himself, proud yet broken, that made Morgan stop in his tracks. "Y'all go ahead," Morgan said to his friends, his gaze fixed on Jacob. Without hesitation, he approached the man, crouching down to meet him at eye level. "Evenin', sir. Mind if I sit with you for a minute?" Morgan's voice was warm, without a hint of pity. Jacob looked up, startled. Strangers didn't usually stop to talk to him, let alone sit beside him. He hesitated before nodding. "Sure. Don't got much room, but you're welcome to it." As they sat together, Morgan began asking questions, not out of curiosity, but out of genuine interest. Jacob told him about his past, about the love of his life, about the nights he spent playing guitar by her side. His voice trembled when he spoke about losing her, and Morgan could see the tears he was fighting to hold back. When the conversation shifted to the guitar case, Jacob hesitated. "It's seen better days," he admitted, opening the case to reveal an old, cracked acoustic guitar with broken strings. "Used to play all the time, but life has a way of stealin' the music right out of you." Morgan's heart ached as he looked at the guitar. It wasn't just an instrument, it was a symbol of everything Jacob had lost. "You mind if I take a look?" Morgan asked, picking up the guitar gently. He strummed the remaining strings, the sound hollow and strained. "Tell you what," Morgan said, standing up. "Let's fix this thing up. Come with me." Jacob looked at him, confused. "Why would you do that for me? You don't even know me." Morgan smiled. "Because everyone deserves a second chance, and I reckon this guitar's ready for one too." They walked together to a nearby music store. Morgan bought a new set of strings and had the guitar repaired. While they waited, Morgan continued to talk to Jacob, learning more about his life and his dreams, the ones he thought were long gone. When the guitar was ready, Morgan handed it back to Jacob. "Go on," he urged. "Play me something." Jacob hesitated, his hands shaking as he held the guitar. Slowly, he began to strum a melody, his voice soft and trembling. It was an old country song he used to play for his wife, one that carried the weight of his sorrow and the faint hope of healing. The sound filled the store, raw and imperfect but achingly beautiful. Tears streamed down Jacob's face as he finished the song. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a homeless man, but as a human being with a story, with worth. Morgan clapped him on the back. "That right there," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "is what the world needs to hear." But Morgan wasn't done. He gave Jacob enough money to get a warm meal and a safe place to stay for the night. "This is just the beginning," he said, handing Jacob a card with his manager's number. "Call me if you ever need anything. And don't stop playin'." Music has a way of bringing us back to life. Morgan didn't stop there. He later organized a benefit concert, bringing together local artists to raise money for Nashville's homeless community. Jacob was invited to perform, and though he was nervous, Morgan stood by his side, encouraging him. That night, Jacob played his heart out on stage, his music touching every soul in the audience. People cried, applauded, and cheered for a man who had found his voice again. Morgan watched from the side of the stage, his heart full. This wasn't just about Jacob, it was about reminding everyone that no one is beyond redemption, that a small act of kindness can spark a fire of hope. Today, Jacob has a small home and plays at local venues. He often shares his story, crediting Morgan Wallen as the man who gave him a second chance. The two have remained friends, and whenever Morgan is in town, they sit together, guitars in hand, playing songs and sharing laughs. For Morgan, it's simple. "We all go through hard times," he said in an interview. "Sometimes, all it takes is one person to remind you that your story isn't over. If I can be that person, even for one moment, then I'm doing something right." This story isn't just about kindness, it's about hope, redemption, and the power of music to heal even the deepest wounds. And in the process, it reminds us all that a little bit of light can break through even the darkest of nights.